Welcome! Today we're doing a little something different. Makers Creative Collab Challenge. 3 items or more mixed media. I used 3 items or more, didn't I?
I did too, but I just didn't film mine.
Welcome to PM Artist Studio. This is
P.
I am M. Together we are PM Artist Studio. There's our PM thing.
Yeah, I saw it. I recognized it.
There's a stick that I stole from the baby.
Who, by the way, did
recognize her stick, even though I have painted it. You saw there in the beginning that is the end product. But, well, I don't know that it's really a product because we don't sell it. So, technically, the end project. But I'm thinking it's going to have another life. I mean, it's just, this is the beginning of its life. And there we are discussing what I'm going to do with said stick. And then the black chipboard that,
has a wonky cut on the
side. Watch a couple of lives ago when we were binding books, and you'll see exactly how that happened.
Oh, you have the rub off ladder.
Well, and then I was like, I don't think that goes with the stick, because you were trying to pawn your rub off, your brayer off.
Handing you stuff at the top of the pile.
Yeah, the top of the pile.
There wasn't a lot of thought into it. She wants something here. I'll give her this.
So, if you were part of the Makers of Mixed Media Art and Artists Facebook group.
I had to dig for that one, by the way.
Oh.
That required a little bit of effort. My job in this whole project was
finding things.
The honeydew gopher.
Yeah.
Do we have any of this, Mother?
Okay, hey, simmer down. So, if you were part of the Makers of Mixed Media Art and Artists Facebook group, this is where we are doing this challenge. We have quite a few others. Let's see here. I hope I don't forget anybody. We have Lisa from Serious Hecka, Judy P from Judy P's Creative Journey. We have Carrie Gibson Art, the Happy Paper People, Cheran and Marianne, Felicia from Where Baking Meets Crafting, or Crafting Meets Baking. Oh, sorry, Felicia. No, I suck. Peg from Two Old Crows. I think that's everyone. Please check the description below. I didn't forget you on purpose. I just was really terrible and didn't bring my list in front of me. So there you go. I am going at real speed here, so I knew that there was going to be plenty of time for me to kind of tell everyone about the creative collab that we were doing in our Facebook group. So at this point, now I have the main 3 things. So we had a list of 6 things. I don't know gel prints, and that's kind of what P was rounding up and handing over, or brayer offs. Which catch paper was one of the other ones too.
Well, I guess that's a brayer off.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. There was just a technicality there. Something you found objects.
That was really not meant.
Right, and then Lisa mentioned the thing about, I didn't think that you wanted to watch me stab at a stick for 15 minutes. So I went fast. But it was Lisa from Serious Hecka that said, well, we probably should throw something else in there, like, a stick or foliage or whatever. So that was one of the items. Stencil, texture paste, and sprays. I ended up using stencils. I used Impasto as texture paste. You'll see that part coming up. And then the gel print / brayer off / catch paper. Found it in the pile.
Really turned out brilliant, I must say.
Thank you. I very much appreciate that. But I love this paper. This is the paper that, we have been using for the last 2 years, basically, on the roll, craft white paper. Because here in a second, you're not going to see me spray this because I forgot to turn the camera back on. So that's why I popped the picture in there to show. But I'm spraying here too.
Yeah, I heard all these expletives back behind me.
Are you serious?
What happened?
I forgot to turn
it's what didn't happen.
Yeah, I forgot to turn the camera on there. But I do it sort of again. this black licorice business with the ice ink spray, I tell you, it's black. Be careful. Like, it goes, it's kind of like the navy blue.
Yeah.
Spray cautiously.
Yes.
Don't let pee spray it.
I don't even pick that stuff up. I looked at it and looked
She
at the
points
color.
everything like outward, and you got to point the sprayer down.
Well, I kind of like to get an angle on it.
Yeah, but that's terrible
And I
because
do
then
get an
everything
angle on it.
in its path.
That's why we had a lot of catch paper when I was spraying.
Yeah, we don't have as much catch paper now. I have to make it.
Getting low.
Yeah.
I don't even spray anymore. I hate that stuff mostly. Except I do like my Mr. Huey's. I do.
Oh, and Marianne and Cheran from the Happy Paper People hooked us up with some Mary Mary.
And Mary Mary was one of my go-tos. I love Mary Mary.
I tell you, she is quite contrary. The Mary Mary of the Mr. Huey's. That you can't get anymore.
And her garden doth not grow.
Does not grow.
Well, it got a little wild there on the edge of that one with that red.
No, that was already there.
Oh.
Yeah. See, I sort of let that set the color palette because, and I thought it was something that I never really used before. This whole black plus tan plus peachy. It was kind of in your realm of.
It's that stick that did it.
Yeah, it was. The stick brought me to the other side. I did spray the stick though. Did you notice that? I made it pink.
Oh my God.
I married it.
Certainly did.
Loving. I always love the Lindy's sprays, especially this. It's not part of the Starbursts. It's the gold one that kind of has it clumps up. I've never really used it quite like that, like where it does the marbling. I haven't mastered that technique. I just like that it sparkles.
I would.
Hey, and it went really nicely with the black chipboard. I thought that was pretty nifty. Kind of elegant. But yet rustic with the stick.
Absolutely. Those are good elements.
Good elements.
Oh, I like it.
Rustic yet elegant.
I don't think those necessarily are. What is
Are you getting she's getting herself situated.
I'm getting myself situated.
She's moving in.
I'm just trying to get a better angle on this so that I can truly see what's going on.
And I was keeping everything on that little, what do we call those? Our boards, move them around the studio boards.
Oh yes. Yours is actually a cutting board. Mine.
No, I have one of the boards behind there. That's what I'm spraying on.
Oh, yes.
See, and I'm showing my very, very awesome tool. In fact, P even asked for it the other day. Can I use your little glue spreader thing? And how do you use it? Are you
I said, do you push it or pull it?
Is it a pusher or a puller? So, you kind of do both, but mainly you kind of, you pull towards you.
Yeah, you whichever end you're holding on, you want to go the other way.
And the funny thing is it was created by a postcard, and the glue on it just has built up into a shovelly, tied up, sort of angled thing.
You could probably make $1 million, actually.
Yeah, I
manufacturing something like that.
Well, we should get some of that.
Oh, there you go, spraying
mold
the stick.
We could mold it and then pour. They have those things you can put your hand in and everything.
The silicone.
Yeah, and we could pour our own. Let us know below.
Sign up if you're interested.
Yeah, comment below.
Make a mold.
We want one of our spreaders from our mold. See, I made my stick pink. I was hoping it was going to gather a bit more in those holes that I had stabbed into it. I was really actually trying to split the stick. But I decided that I was really walking a fine line. I was going to hurt myself if I kept stabbing the stick.
You should have handed that over to me. I'm an old stick stabber from way back.
You're an old stick.
I could have split that baby for you.
I really wanted it split.
I think I was busy doing something else.
Yeah, you were. You were sort of cleaning. Well, her version of cleaning, which means moving piles around. Sorting.
So I can make some more piles.
Yes. She had to clear
I'm
a flat
compilation piling.
she had to clear a flat space. Let us know below if you're one of
That's
those.
when I get all excited about cleaning. I'm like, I have no more room. I have 6 inches here to work, and I need at least 8.
Yeah. So here I'm contemplating, do I fold it back over? But I felt like that was kind of... I didn't want to commit to that. And then I knew that I wanted to use more of that other piece that I'd made in the more reddish, pinky, Mary colors. And let me tell you, I love the sponges with the sprays. It's just my most favorite thing. I think that's my favorite thing.
I think it's your favorite thing. You have mentioned that. That's your favorite thing. I just get all gooed up. I'm not real crazy
she's
about
like,
it.
you want me to gel print that for you?
Well, she's always telling me.
You want me to spray that
I
for you?
can do that on the computer.
Yeah.
35 seconds.
You wouldn't get the texture, though. That's the only thing. And I don't know where that sponge exactly came from or what was on it above and beyond the licorice eye zinc. But,
well, maybe a little purple in there.
no, I think that's actually the spray. But
Oh.
I just didn't know where that sponge came from. And I had never used the licorice before. So either you have or something was going on. I don't know.
I'm blaming it on Izzy.
Yeah, that's usually the go-to. Although it wasn't pink, so I doubt that she was using the sponge for...
No, black is definitely not her go-to.
Mm-mm. And this is one of those things that usually I would have glued the thing down and been like, oh man, it would have been cool if I put the paper over it, but I was really taking my time.
I just now noticed that. That's very clever.
And it wraps around. I didn't want it to feel like I just put the stick on there.
It's hugging.
Yeah, it's coming out of.
There's a relationship established there.
There is.
I'm big on that.
I am too. I do put, thoughts and feelings and have a sense of a story.
You just tore it off of there. What are you doing? Oh.
Well, I had to glue it. This is like measured twice, cut once. This is...
But you don't have holes to stick your stick on yet.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Oh, there's no sense in... If I would have pre-done the holes, they would have never been in the right place anyway.
True.
That's my feeling on that. But then I was a little worried too that still my stick was a bit chunky. And that it kept flopping over. And then that's when you were looking for the copper wire. For whatever you didn't end up doing.
Oh, and Izzy decided that she really liked it because it was boingy.
Yeah, the copper wire's boingy. And so I took over the copper wire. Plus, I was like, okay, I don't think it's gonna... And in fact, it flops over. I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work. I probably could have just glued it. But then, this is the natural progression of sometimes needing the next material or media or whatever it is. And then it just happened to be your copper wire that was out.
Has a lot of miles on it.
Does. It's been to Texas and Alaska and then back.
Absolutely.
It's doubled or tripled in price.
I was just going to say, I can't imagine what because it was by the pound.
Yes.
When you move.
Now, this was another one of those things where I was like...
tricky there.
Yeah, I didn't want to keep all of that black space up there because it was just too,
Yeah.
It needed more...
It takes you off into the corner, and that's never a good design.
Oh. She's a little obsessed about this whole corner business. I somewhat subscribe to this, but I think she's a little obsessed.
I admit I am a little obsessed. I see beautiful artwork, and then I just see this
thing in a corner.
Heading out, heading for the hills.
Look at my hat.
Oh my God.
That was before it was... I know that was after it was found again. It was lost and then it was found. I have a new hat though. I quite like. You can tune in on Sundays to see the hat. See, there's very
delicate maneuvering there.
Yes, delicate is the right word, because I didn't want to rip that one piece that I'd spent so much time wrapping around my little stick there. See, carefully just pushing it back into place. The loveliness about using the sprays with, especially the Brayer-Offs, because the Brayer-Offs always have this nicely kind of streaky zone that's left open.
The paper's exposed.
Right. So it takes the ink so beautifully, and you can really manipulate the colors into, what I want them to be. And know for sure that that's where they're going to be. That's what I like.
I like printing on it for sort of the same reason, because when I come back in with, say, a watercolor or something else, then it really, wherever it didn't have paint, and it's a nice effect. If you can plan that, that's lovely. It doesn't always happen that way. Now you're leaving that corner up there, you're worrying me. I'm going to look at the back of it right now.
She's going to flip it over. She has the actual thing here to make sure that I didn't accentuate the corner. I think there may be a call in the group to show us your corners.
I think what we're talking about stuff right now is the reason that we're like putting that back and forth, and
yes.
You get a nice rip on this, too.
Yes, so that's the white craft paper on a roll. It has the most awesome tooth to it.
And we don't know, because Mariah's had it forever.
For years.
I would just guarantee you that it does have some cotton content to it, because sometimes it's hard to tear.
Yeah. I mean, in its loveliness that we do love about it, it also, you don't want to use the punches on it. It is not a punchy paper.
No.
That's a surefire way to get it stuck. And you do have to rip in the right way, because if you go the wrong way,
it's like newsprint.
Yeah, it has directional. See, this is what I love about the boards, and all this is a piece of cardboard wrapped in meat packing paper. And then that way my board wasn't getting all mucked up. #muckymuck.
Absolutely. I use those little boards for everything, because when I was doing those really dip and dye things.
Dip and dye.
Dip and dyes. With
the shibori stuff?
With the what do you call that? The powdered ink. Powdered watercolor.
Oh, the brushos. And the watercolor crystals.
That's what these initially started out.
Oh, yes, because that stuff gets, like, kind of everywhere.
And you had to put it someplace to dry, because it was completely saturated, so it took forever.
Yeah. I'm telling you, the self-actorizing spray, the licorice, worked so beautifully in this, because then it held that texture of that torn edge and really just
faded it out.
Melted into it is really what I wanted to say. Melted into it. And that doesn't always happen with blacks. I mean,
no.
Blacks are just, it's a hard color to guarantee that, is it going to be purple based? Is it going to
be red based? Is it going to turn brown on
What's it going to do to the thing underneath it? What crazy stuff is going to come out of that? And then maybe your black color is not going to be so black anymore. It's going to do purple, red, or brown, kind of. Some of it even goes a little weirdy yellow.
It just depends on what
Yeah.
dyes they've used, because it's made from the
Yeah.
primary colors. There's
Our
that
little
lovely little tool.
I'm telling you, the little spready tool. And then I was pretty genius. Because I was like, I couldn't lay it down flat because of the stick. You see? So I couldn't press on top of it. So I had to put the thing.
Well, the other thing is, you could have done all this other stuff to begin
Well,
with, but
there
that
was
wouldn't
that.
have been a very organic way of working.
Yeah, there was that.
Yeah.
And I thought about that in the video, or as I was videoing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, three-dimensional objects on flat things don't make for...
No. So, if you plan things out really well, then sometimes
Well,
that's
you
all
could
you end up.
also stack up some books there and put that in the middle of the little
that would have
channel.
been smart. Yeah. Kind of like the little face piece that when you get a massage or go to the chiropractor.
Yeah. Could have rested in between the books.
There you go. That's what you come to PM Artist Studio for.
Learn little tricks like that.
Yeah, if you're feeling really inspired by this video, give us a thumbs up, all that good stuff.
Are we at the end?
No. I just thought that was a very nice...
A good place to put it, slide it in there?
Yeah. See? That's almost as gnarly as the navy blue.
Oh, I don't think any.
No, blue is just that. I think my board is finally starting to release. There's still a little blue tint there. You can kind of see it.
Yeah, I noticed that today when I was cleaning it up. Your daughter used your board
to paint on. I didn't end up using the little scrappy bit down there. In fact, I sent that off to the winner of the little swap thing that we did with Karen Tamir. And then we had a winner. If you want to see that, then head over to that video. Check out the comments. Leave one. If you want scraps, let us know.
We have a few.
Always willing to send out a bag of scraps. Especially if you're going to video what you're going to do with it. We really like those. Just cleaning up those little bits that didn't... when you tear, sometimes it soaks through. And so even when you tear it, it's there. But a majority of the time, actually, when you tear, it hasn't soaked through to that. Most of the time, I'm okay with that. But in this case, I really wanted to make sure I brought in the same color as the stick. So I had that nice diagonal there. Now, does it bother you that it points to the corner?
It doesn't point directly to the corner because the other line brings it back in.
Oh, okay. Now we're going to get stabby again.
Yes, and
I'm thinking.
She lost her piece of yoga mat that I gave her, so I had to cut her another one.
Yeah, I don't really... I do remember you giving it to me, and I think I put it somewhere. But we also have another person in the studio that could have easily wandered off with that because it was squishy.
Yes.
So.
There it is.
There's the wire. Pretty excited about the wire. Now, I think is it...
It's 18 gauge.
18 gauge. Which is perfect. It's still squishy enough.
Malleable.
There we go. I knew you were going to help me out.
Yes, that's the word you use. Malleable.
I did mean to make this a little bit... I could have fast-forwarded this, but I like to give us a little opportunity to, set us up here.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for the stabby tool. Because I'm going to
we
poke the
have
holes.
More than one on the cart, but I know that you like that one.
I actually used 2 different ones.
Ah.
I think. I used like 3 different ones on the stick.
Well, one of those is a clay tool, I know for sure. The one with the wooden handle and the long point on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other one, the metal one, I don't really know.
Yeah. Some of them, I don't know. I can't remember, but that's a clay tool. No. Yes. That is. So I have the little piece of yoga mat behind there. And I'm just sort of pre-drilling, basically. Pre-drilling my holes. And I thought a nice zigzaggy.
I can hook you up with a larger piece of that. I didn't really understand exactly what it was that you wanted it for.
Oh. I did wonder why it was such a tiny piece, but I thought maybe I was being punished.
For losing the other one?
Or, you know.
There is that.
So yes, poking the holes to get the wire through. I didn't want to go crazy because I did anticipate the wire being somewhat tricky to, especially once you get towards the end. You know, when you have a long piece, it's much easier to maneuver it. But then as it gets shorter...
Yeah, and it's kind of, you can't add more on.
Well, I kind of did.
Oh.
Yeah, you'll see that here in just a second. And purposefully so. Like, I knew, well, it's kind of two ends of it. It's like, if it's way too long, you're gonna... It's so difficult to deal with. But then, if you have too little of it, it is also very hard, because it was at the end once I wrapped it around the stick here, and see, I knew I had fast forwarded it at some point. Pushing it through there and then giving myself enough to come down and measure it properly. So I left it on the spool there for a while to make sure. Because again, I didn't really have a, total plan.
Well, I think that was okay. You had enough information that you knew where it was going to go, and it wasn't exactly like you had to follow a recipe here.
Yeah. And I knew then I just kind of wrapped that one little end piece under there enough to give it a sense that it was coming back through, but it didn't. It actually stopped. And having those little needle nose pliers is huge.
Yeah, and you want to make sure that you tuck your little ends in, because they can be sharp little
yes.
boogers.
I did do that. Did you notice I kind of pointed them in and down?
I did notice that.
Thank you.
Very proud of you.
Well, I appreciate that. There you go. So I brought in 2 additional pieces. And then I locked that in with just more swirls. And hopefully Peg will be a little bit... She used to do jewelry work. And she does beautiful stuff. So, hopefully she'll give us a nice comment on that. Or be like, poor Mariah. I'll take a pity comment too. That's fine. I felt very proud about the whole wire business and getting it tight enough that, I knew it wasn't going to just jiggle off of there. And then Izzy wanted to mess with it too. So, it did hold up. Now, this was a pretty nifty experimental part of the project, which was running the impasto over a sheet of tissue paper. Now we've done the texture paste over tissue paper, and then we can spray it and color it and do all kinds of cool things, and then it stays white or black or whatever the texture paste is, it stays. But the impasto being a clear medium, I was interested. And it kind of did what I thought it would. I thought it would actually hold the white paper more than it did. But it's pretty interesting what happened with it.
I think part of it could be when you put it on, if you push harder and you have a surface underneath that is pushing back, that's more solid, you're going to get more penetration from front to back.
It soaked all the way through.
You could feel it.
Yes. And I did that purposefully. I did do that. I think what happened is because the impasto is pretty liquidy, it actually spread a bit once it was pushed into.
Mm-hmm. You don't
and
have
thinned out.
The little sharp edges. It's more
right.
of a suggestion of the edges of the little shapes there.
Exactly. So see?
But I can still feel where it is.
And I was making sure that my stencil was going the right way. That's kind of key sometimes. It doesn't always matter, but I felt... Are you proud of this?
Yeah, good technique there.
Yeah. See, normally this is
the heel of your palette knife. That's
she was busy sorting her piles.
Wasn't paying attention to this. Yeah.
And see, I was really getting it in there, pushing it down, and then I wanted still to have enough at the top there that I got. And it was really great when I lifted off there. There was plenty of loft. But I think with the tissue paper being as porous as it is, and just the impasto being the type of media it is, it kind of soaked in and spread out a bit.
I appreciate you getting that off the edge,
I
too.
knew that, yeah.
Because it's not fun to unstick a lid.
I spent a minute working on that whole business there.
And I love that little thing. Don't ever throw those away.
That is our broken lattice stencil, by the way. For those of you
I used some of that today when I was doing gel printing.
You must special request that. If you order the regular lattice, and then put in the notes that you want the broken lattice. You can do that on our Etsy or our website.
Both places?
Both places.
No. Dandy.
Handy. Handy and dandy.
Did we say that the other day?
No, we didn't. I didn't read the notes. I'll try to bust that out this week. I purposefully put it up on the magnet thing, hoping that I could, yes, reuse that. And then I had that little piece left over there, and thought, well, there wasn't a lot left actually on the stencil. And the nice thing about the impasto is that it is quite easy to wipe off of the stencil versus texture or even gesso gets pretty cloggy on there, and you want to make sure that you clean that stuff up.
And especially with the clear, because it will fool you. You think it's not on there, but after a while you use your stencil and you get little dots. You're going, what's happening here?
What's going on?
My stencil's clogged up.
See, that was the other oopsie.
The other oopsie?
Of the covers that I chopped. I figured out that the Zutter must be cleaned out.
It was constipated.
It was a little clogged. Had some things in the little, I don't know, what do you call that area where you put it in, and the guide sort of channel.
The channel.
Okay, so now, while the impasto is drying, I am going to do my little idea that I had about using embroidery thread and bringing in that element.
It's a nice contrast between the hard metal and the soft cloth.
Yeah, and it's, and then even the wood itself, there's kind of three.
Oh, and then you have the paper, you have the board. Yeah, you have a lot of textures going on there, real and otherwise.
Yeah, and a lot of natural materials in their original form. Okay.
Yeah.
The wood makes the paper. I was struggling with that darn.
No.
I finally gave up and just pulled the darn thing off of there because I was like, whatever. I'm the only one that ever really uses this embroidery thread.
I occasionally
And usually
do.
she has me dig it out anyway, so it's fine.
And it's usually to patch up something of his.
Yeah. That she's not going to wear anymore because she's angry because either Gigi made it look too Frankenstein-y or... That's a whole other story. I was a little worried that... Because I didn't want to poke any more holes.
Because of the integrity of your board falling apart?
No. I had not nearly met, Swiss cheese at this point. But I also wanted there to be a bit of this sense that, it kind of could come undone at any point. Certainly, I feel that way some days.
But it's taking you backwards and forwards.
It is.
Yeah, this edge is...
Don't be picking at this. She's picking at things.
It's flipping up a little bit.
It needs a little glue repair. Sometimes, But doesn't that feel really cool? We'll get to that here in just a second. I want you to watch my little thing because you really weren't paying much attention over there.
I was decompilationing.
Mm-hmm. So just an effort, just a little tune of the wire allowed Amy to get it through there, and then creates enough of a little bend for it to just sort of hold on to. She's not very entertained by this.
And this is the kind of fiddling stuff that drives me crazy. It's kind of like vacuuming. If I'm doing it, it's okay. If I have to watch somebody else do it, it just makes me want to...
It's not very nice.
Stab myself.
And then I had to figure out, okay, well, if I get one area to stay, how am I going to get the other? And also keeping in mind that, once you turn that, it does tighten the wire.
Yes, from the other side.
From the other side.
You'd be pulling your stick out of place.
So, many little...
So, there's tension here.
There, fine-tuning, tweaking, and bending. And then I was like, oh, that's not going to work. Got to give it a little more. But I didn't want it to be crazy, to block it down. I could have done that. Thought about doing it with glue.
You could certainly do that, and there's always that opportunity.
Yeah, I probably should go back just, now that it is to hold it, because I don't have it. It is simply...
if it gets a lot of handling, that could become an issue.
Yeah, and I think this is going to become a journal cover. So I probably will come back and put some... I did on the final wrap where it ends up. I did put some glue. So...
that will become the top or the bottom.
And then I think what's going to happen is we're going to pull... What I would really like is all the previous gel prints that sort of fit this color scheme. We only have about 50 million gel prints. I think I called it a night. It's like, no, done. I can't do that anymore. Oh, no, here's my paper. But, just checking on that. Or it might have been dinner. Probably dinner. Stop for dinner. Which was, sometimes it's nice to have a little break.
I totally endorse that, because a lot of times when I come back, I'm really glad that I didn't do something that I'd have to undo.
Yeah.
Because I was just
trying to get her done.
Frustrated and you shouldn't really be acting unless it's, floodwaters are coming in the front door. Then you can...
You can run around. Be crazy. See, I used a bigger stabby one. because I knew I was going to go through with the needle on this. Because I wasn't going to just try to stuff the thread through. And that first hole, I needed it to be very specifically, I wanted it there. I thought it was really cool that it hit that same stripe in that spot. Now, I knew it wasn't necessary, but I stayed on course there. And I wanted that to happen purposefully. And I like the 3. I knew you would like the 3 too.
I like the 3. 3 or 5?
Yes.
7.
Odd numbers.
Yeah. I'm about that.
But I did very much enjoy this. You know, normally I'm the happy slappy, powsy wowsy. But it was nice to kind of hang out over there in the dark side. The rustification.
Yeah.
The woodsies.
And I think what's interesting is this copper ages, it's going to turn kind of a green.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be lovely with the pink.
Oh, it will. It really will. There's almost that hint of that in that taupey. Taupey business there, especially over the black. Like what we were talking about. I was struggling with it was even the big one, but tell you what, allergies lately. Woo. There we go. And see, it was still even tough after I used the big.
Yeah, that's a big needle.
Yeah.
I think you could have probably gotten away with the smaller one.
Oh, well, like I said, I was struggling with, and then I pulled through. I was like, oh, are you kidding me? See, normally in a fast forward, you wouldn't even notice that. Some advantage to that. And then I was like, yeah, I'm making that hole bigger.
Okay, just ring
ring
that baby out.
Yeah, it needed a little opening up. Open that hole up.
And that's...
All right. And then I kept worrying, like, God, if I don't keep this thing tight enough, I'm worried that all that work that I did, because it is all one piece. I did not cheat on that. And I liked that whole idea of one continuous thread from front to back, side to side, through the little holes, around the metal. And then just carefully wrapped at the end with a little bit of glue.
A spot.
The spot of glue. And I should have gone through 3 holes, but I didn't. I don't know. That's one thing that did sort of bother me with that whole deal. Because there were 3 holes over here that I went through. And I should have hit 3 here when I came back through there. But that's okay. I mean, that's pretty small potatoes.
I was going to say, I noticed that right away. Jumped on that.
Yeah. But these are the crazy little detailed things that...
Well, I know, but that's usually the ones the person that made it knows about.
Yeah.
The people who are observing it are just
you guys would have
what are
never
you
known.
talking about?
And then I came, did the little 3 back through. And then around the edge. Almost mark making, like.
Very much so.
I was a bit worried about coming out to the edge, knowing that this probably was going to be a cover, but again, it just made sense and I liked it, and May end up having to put some glue there. A little wear and tear might.
Well, or, it'll just,
It is
age
what it-
and something, and then you will fix it and do something else to it. It'll become sort of a
Work in progress.
work in progress.
One that needs mending.
Yes. That whole what is there's a Japanese word for it.
Oh well, yes, because when the bowl,
Kinsaki or kintsugi or
like if the bowl gets chipped, they fill it with the gold.
yes.
So maybe
I know I have that word written down.
If my
upstairs.
string breaks, I'll come back with the copper.
Yeah, or
I don't have gold.
no,
No, I don't think we want to mix our metals in this.
no, absolutely not. Now I do have some sterling wire, but I'm not really ready to give that up yet.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Now that's the other thing you could put on there.
And I have, and you can't really, you could sort of see it, I think. This is the
Tissue paper.
Yes, the impasto. But here, look, see, that's cool. And I thought it would kind of stay that way, and it sort of did. And
I
maybe
can see the resist places there.
yeah. I bet if I would have dried it like with the heat tool right as I was doing it, I may have been able to get more of that
Effect of
right, that initial, like what you see
resist.
right there. But see, as it sort of soaks through,
because it allows to sit there. Yes, if you dried it rapidly, you would get more.
but see how cool, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the opportunity, I think, is there. You're just going to have to be very quick.
Quick on the draw.
Quick on the draw with your heat gun.
Fire that baby up.
Yes. And I came in like, that's the Lindy's gold. I can't remember. It's the,
You must shake.
yeah, you must shake it. It's not the Starburst. It's the other kind of their shimmer stuff. But that also spreads it out, which then pushed it
Yeah,
more
and then
into-
you laid it back down in the wet
Yeah.
spot.
which is usually what I do when I do the texture paste version. So that's kind of why I was, and to check it, because it is still see-through-y there, and I do come in and heat dry it, but I think you can get more of that look to stay. But it looks like fish skin almost.
Yeah, it does.
Really kind of enjoyed that. But it looks like fish skin almost.
Yeah, it does.
Really kind of enjoyed that. Okay, so now it's dry. Just be done with that. And of course I'm going to tear it. Because, it's just what I do. And these are just the final little touches of everything. And remember, my 3 items were the stick, the catch paper / brayer / gel prints, and the sprays. I brought in the sprays earlier with that on top of the brayer off catch papers. But then this tied the piece in. And then kind of in addition to, I used the stencil and the impasto as a texture paste. And if you want to see some awesome things with texture paste or with impasto, you need to check out Judy P. That girl's got it going on. She can do some things with impasto.
Yeah, she can make it sit up and spin on its ear.
Just needed the confirmation of, what do you think of this? P was still not giving me a lot of,
That looks good. Glue that baby down.
yeah, let's be done with this. And I was also contemplating, because this is tissue paper, remember I was asking, should I use the glue stick? Or should I use just the regular technique with spreading it out with my little spreader? Because I was worried that it would darken it too much.
Yeah.
But it did. It worked out all right, because, yeah, I'm going with the... Put it down with the art glitter glue.
Yeah, I'll show you some of my gluing art live. I've got, it's in one of the...
You're going to show your glue dotty?
My glue dottiness.
She used it as texture.
Part of the design.
You can do that.
I didn't...
Me too.
I have a hard time getting that little thing, her thing to work with tissue paper, because it just gets all mucked up and wrinkled up, and oh yeah,
but you got to spread this out, especially on something like napkins, or, well, actually I wouldn't even use this with napkins because it would just stick and rip and be terrible. But the tissue paper, especially once the impasto is on there,
it is a little more,
it holds it a bit.
It has a bit more body. And certainly strength.
Yeah. And you had to be a little bit careful doing that, because it is still, there's a little bit of bumpiness in certain areas that it flattened out more than I thought it was going to, though. I will say that. I thought I was going to get more loft out of it. But all in all, very pleased. And I even brought that piece back over and covered up some of the string, because again, it was cool to wrap like the stick in the paper and then the string with the tissue paper. That's some of that arty thinking of, just what is the meaning? She's rolling her eyes at me. Every once in a while I get deep. I don't know. Sometimes it's just like, no, it's just, I really like
chest waders.
I really like that pretty string and that pretty paper, and I'm putting it together. That's about as much as I thought about it. This one had a little more meaning as I was building it. She's making fun of me. That's all right. I can take it. There we go. I think she's pretty well done. Trying to think if there's anything else I put on there. I tightened up the little pieces a bit. And so yeah, there we go.
I know, I can hook you up with some pink and black.
I did put the little PM sticker on it afterwards, but I have to move that around anyway because the position was not proper.
Ah.
But you notice that here in the little pictures. See, I have to move it. I got to move it. If this is going to be a journal cover, as we discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A little up close and personal. You can see that wire work.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. See, there is little bits of green, so it will be very interesting when that does turn green.
And also, I can come in and do some colored pencil techniques for you that will...
Yes. That's her tedious. You want to see her do something, yeah. Whew.
Yeah, but I'm doing them, so I don't care. I'm back.
Hey, you know what? If you really like this video and you stuck around to the end, I am so proud of you. Thank you. Leave us a comment below.
And don't forget to ring that bell.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.